All right, welcome in everybody. This is the All About Nothing podcast, kind of daily show, and it is Monday, January the 13th. Um, I think for those of you that are tuning in, we did have a new episode of the All About Nothing podcast come out this morning. My friend Matt Villardo was my guest this week. Oh, sorry, that's my coffee is putting vapor across the Anyway, new episode. Matt Villarbo was my guest. Matt Villarbo, of course, was the Democratic candidate for the South Carolina House of Representatives seat District 26. That is a really long title, isn't it? It's a really long title. Anyway, he was my guest this week, and we had a good conversation. He got to air some, he got to get some things off of his chest during that episode that probably necessary. We discussed his campaign a little bit. We also discussed the fact that he has announced his candidacy to be in the running for the uh, chair seat for the York County Democratic Party. And I think that just based on my years of knowing Matt Villardo, I think that he would make an outstanding candidate for the chair seat. I think that he has, while he has not won his campaigns, he has had very successful campaigns. And those campaigns have mounted to more votes uh, election over election than some other candidates, which is fantastic. We really appreciate everybody that supported him. I was his campaign manager for the 2024 election, and the episode this week is along, um, I guess, just airing some of what occurred before the election, after the election, that sort of thing. Matt has received a lot of backlash, or not backlash, attention. I'm going to say he's received a fair amount of attention from some of the uh, Republicans in the district and adjacent districts, and it's not been great attention. Some of it has not been great attention, but did want to come on this morning, make sure everybody knows to check out that episode. If you're not subscribed to the All About Nothing, you can subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you don't, if you search for us, it's the allaboutnothing.com. It's kind of, you'll see our logo, uh, like it is. There are some other podcasts out there that are called All About Nothing or the All About Nothing. I don't know. It's been us since 2017, so we're in our eighth season. uh, I was Matt Villardo's campaign manager in District 26, House Seat District 26 in York County, Fort Mill area. Yeah, so R1.0 asks, can you talk about the political climate around AI and loss of jobs to AI not being, and I missed part of that, not being red flagged. Um, you know, I think that there's a lot of fear about what potential artificial intelligence could have when it comes to um, jobs, like technical jobs, things that in my line of work, I am an engineer. I am a quality assurance engineer for a software company, and what we do is I develop test case scenarios for the software that we create. We create software for insurance companies, property and casualty insurance companies, and in my line of work, I don't really have a fear that the artificial intelligence could potentially take my job. I definitely see some benefit where artificial intelligence could um, create or help to create an environment that is more um, prone to the quality of the data. um, right now what we do is pretty extensive when we're validating single points of data, and to have an artificial intelligence that could potentially learn how we do that testing, and have some sort of a machine learning to it would potentially benefit the industry that I work in. I don't have a fear that it's going to take away my job. Um, but I think genuinely that is a fear that a lot of people do have, is that there is a genuine fear that artificial intelligence could take away their job. Um, you know, there are also other functional jobs that artificial intelligence just can't. I don't think you can duplicate. I mean, in I'm in sales, and AI agents are really being pushed. Yeah, I can see that. Um, when it comes to anything new, I think a lot of what really needs to be in place is some sort of regulatory system can um, that can really protect a lot of these positions. AI is so new that it really it's so, I don't know, it's hard to describe really, because what I want to happen is for artificial intelligence to be used as a tool that really makes life better, or makes some things easier. For instance, let's say if I am let's say I typically drive to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Artificial intelligence for me, yeah. So Zuckerberg and Joe Rogan, while I will, he said, Zuck and Rogan's podcasts said that they are replacing all the mid-level software engineers in this year. I, you know, if that's something that happens, then I'll have to pivot. But so back to what I think that would be useful artificial intelligence. Say I drive to work every day at 6 a.m. Well, there's an accident somewhere between me and the office. I would like for my phone to be able to say, "Hey, there's an incident. There's an accident between you and work. Here is a faster route that you can take. It's still going to be delayed, or you need to leave this much earlier to get past the accident." And because we already have all of the tools in place, we have speed detection. We know, based on Google and Waze and things like that, we already have social engineering involved in how the traffic patterns are occurring based on our interaction, as well as radar detectors and cameras and things like that. So like all of this stuff is already in place, and the fact that we're not there yet is a little frustrating. But those are the tools that I see AI really, us benefiting from an artificial intelligence, is it being able to understand our patterns, and then from those patterns be able to produce a solution. When it comes to quality software engineer solution, engineering, for I'm going to try that again. When it comes to quality testing for software, yes, I fully believe that there are tools that could be used, or that artificial intelligence could learn uh, that perspective of what it is that my job function is. Um, I just don't see that we're there yet. Um, you know, Rogan is an extremely successful podcaster. I can't take that away from him. Do I think that some of the stuff that he says on his podcast is a little crazy? And does he tend to just align himself with whoever his guest is? Yeah, 100%. The dude, I, you know, he knows a little about a lot, is what I'll say. But Joe Rogan has some unbelievably talented, incredible guests. I wish our show could get some of the guests that he gets. Um, but it's so his show is almost 100% clickbait for me. Like, I listen because I think that it's interesting, but at the same time I look at Joe Rogan like this was a guy that was a sideline comedian, not very funny. He was on news radio, uh what, 30 years ago, with Phil Hartman, Andy Dick, um, the guy from New Kids, no, Kids in the Hall. Yeah, Kids in the Hall. I can't remember the names. But anyway, but Seth Rogen has this very uh, popular podcasts now, and some of the things that are on there, man, I I don't not enjoy listening to them as entertainment, but I certainly don't take what they say for. It feels like with Joe Rogan sometimes there's a disconnect between reality and what he wants his show to do. Um, so I'm not sure, but we'll see. As far as Mark Zuckerberg goes, I mean, I can't take away from the intelligence. Uh, he has done something with Facebook and Meta and Instagram. Well, I guess Instagram they bought. But with Facebook and Meta, like the industry and what they've built, I think my disappointment comes when Seth Rogen, sorry, Mark Zuckerberg. When Mark Zuckerberg has one meeting with the president elect, um, yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Zuck just looks like his personality and goals are so malleable sometimes. Yeah, 100%. He definitely sways with the wind. Um, he had one meeting with President elect Trump, and after that meeting, he he unleashed a video onto the internet basically saying, "Hey, none of the meta platforms are going to be doing any of this checking, and there's no more checks on things that people say. It'll basically be up to the community to say when something's wrong, which has worked really well with us over the last, what, 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. um it's it's a hard pill to swallow. Some of the specific breakdowns on the fact checking parts of uh, the meta platforms is now is it's disappointing um, that there can't be some sort of regulation in place anymore. That people are so offended at the idea of being fact checked that it's made it all the way up to one of the and it's not it's popular and it's not popular. It just depends on which side of the line you fall. But the there is such a there's such a tendency for some people just to flat out lie. And I don't know how well the fact check application in Meta worked. I don't. I mean, between Facebook and Instagram, I think maybe once in the last 10 years did I have a single post that was marked as could potentially be recognized as not factual. And I think it was a joke I was telling. It was more of a um, it was a more of attempt at uh, um, satire than anything else, and it got fact checked. And ultimately, I think it stayed up. I didn't have to appeal anything, but that's gone. And one of the breakdowns I saw was that that people posting on Facebook now that can say some extremely negative things that are opinion based, and they will be allowed to stay up with no I guess no feedback, and the only feedback will come from the people on the platform. It's disappointing because we know that the system has the ability, we because it's been there. We know the system has the ability to mark things as inaccurate, and now we're going to be in a situation where nothing's marked as inaccurate, and apps like this TikTok are likely not going to be here this time. I mean, it's still going to be here. It just we won't be able to get upgrades. That the app won't be available on the app stores, and you know, I, I can't get this type of reaction on a Facebook. I can't get this type of reaction on a YouTube. It doesn't exist. So it's ultimately it's going to come down to uh, having. I'm trying to see. Um, yeah, Twitch. It's really going to come down to uh, people trying to be better about, you know, what it is they say and how they interact with other people, especially, I mean, this virtual community is is one that is becoming more normal. And um, this virtual community, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or whatever, this is how a lot of people are interacting, and this is out there forever too. uh so I take it for what it take. It's just my opinion. uh but my hope is that somehow people find a way to be better to each other, whether they're doing it virtually or they're doing it in person or whatever, because it's too easy to be nasty to each other when you don't have to look someone in the face. You know, uh, I think this being the 13th day of January, and we are now 6 days away from a potential TikTok shutdown. That means that if it goes into effect and Apple and Google remove it from its app stores, that we are going to see fewer people joining. As the app grows older, it decays, and if there are no updates allowed, then then we see problems with the app. And I still don't know 100% what it is that has. I don't understand what the security risks were behind the decision to take TikTok down or to remove its availability. But if it's a security issue that is is really that threatening to the nation, then tell us what it is. Just release it, put it out there, let us know what it is. um no, you're R 1.0. You're right. It feels more like censorship than security. It feels like, and based on some of the things that I've read as far as the involvement of a lot of this happening after uh, the Hamas attack on Israel and then the Israeli attack back on Hamas, that this feels, because of some of the involvement, some of what was being released, or being shown through TikTok, of the atrocities that were happening to the people of Palestine. That they were that through TikTok, a lot of that information was getting out. And um, we as the United States are in a really weird situation when it comes to the Israeli government and the Israeli people versus Palestinians and the Arabs. And it's an odd situation that the United States finds itself in, because as an American citizen, I look at some of the things that Israeli has done to the Palestinians, and I have a problem with it. I don't like it. Do I support Israel, though, being able to defend itself as a sovereign country, a sovereign state? 100%. They should be able to defend themselves. But the way that they're defending themselves is taking on civilian casualties that, in my opinion, make the action is as bad as what Hamas did. Um, Sherry commented, that's our holy land. I hope they defend it and guard it with their lives. That is what Jesus says. Um, and I don't disagree. Um, do I have any ideas on how to resolve this? So I don't know how realistic they are. I don't know that they have any real legs, but if Israel is uh, if Israel is committed to the idea that that they want peace, if they are committed, but they're, it's hard to come up with peace when you're constantly being attacked. You Israel is, and this is as a liberal, okay? Israel is in a position that they are surrounded by countries and people in those countries that ultimately want to see their demise. They constantly want to see the Israel state not exist. Okay, so that's a fact. You know, that's governments, that is religious organizations. But when it comes to the people, like here in the United States, we adamantly are we dislike communism. We look at communism and we say, this communism is bad. Communism is bad because uh, by it uh, by how communism, now on paper communism looks great. I mean, it almost looks utopian, but from the perspective of, we still have people in charge when it comes to communism. Look at Russia. Russia claims to be a democracy, but it's a communistic state. It is. Everyone's paid the same. Everyone's equal. Nobody owns anything. Government owns literally everything, and uh, that to me is not freedom. That to me is not democracy. Um, but because of the factions here in the United States, Democrats versus Republicans, conservatives versus liberals, um, we have this situation now where we're looking at what Putin does and how he controls his country, and we have people in this country that look at that and go, what a strong leader. Look at this guy. He's got his country under control. Nobody speaks poorly of him. Nobody speaks out against him, except that that's not factually correct, because they have people that are willing to die and be imprisoned for the rest of their lives just to protest against Putin. They don't have the freedom of speech there that we have here. They don't have the ability to protest and not have repercussions. And one of the issues that I have with the incoming presidency is that that's one of the things that he seems to highlight as what he likes about Russia and Putin is that uh sorry, yeah, it, all over the place. And yeah, so yeah, we were talking about Israel. Um sorry, just to go back to it. Israel, in my opinion, if there was a genuine desire for Israel to try and make peace with its neighbors, there would have to be a genuine desire by its neighbors to also want peace. And and I don't think that those governments, those religious organizations truly want peace. I don't think the Israeli government wants peace. I don't think that um the Arab nations around Israel want peace. I just don't. I don't think they do. And ultimately, um I don't know what comes of it. Um, there has to be some sort of a revolution that is um, on both sides, and if that's the only way I see a solution, is that the people have to rise up against their governments, against their religious leaders, because that's who a demographic map and overlay a crime map for fun. I don't know. I guess I could look into that. It probably won't be this morning. Um, yeah, no, I just don't think that the leadership involved in either group really wants peace. I think that it's the same reason we can't get cured of cancer here in the United States. There's more money, and I'll just put it out there. There's more money in the fighting than there is in the peace. There's more money to fight than there is to peace. And that's I think that's where both the Israeli leadership and the leaders in the Hamas or Hezbollah or Jordan or all of these other countries. I think that ultimately is where it lies. Is that there's more money there's more money to be made in war than there is in peace, and that is where our country that is where our planet just sort of exists, disappointingly. So look, I am gonna have to go and do my real job. So I'm gonna have to jump off. But I appreciate everybody that's joined. I appreciate the hearts. I appreciate the comments. If you're on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, and you've been watching, really appreciate you doing that. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 5:40 a.m. on the East Coast with Mr. Bill Kimler, who again the host of Black, White, and Blue in the South podcast here in South Carolina. We'll be doing our kind of daily show. If you haven't already, please do me a favor, check out the All About Nothing podcast. There are links in the bio as well. You can find links uh, to all of our podcast platforms as well as our social media. Follow us on YouTube as well, because that's where, if this does start to degrade, then we'll be on YouTube. And same sort of thing. We can comment, we can have conversations. Check it out. You can go to theallaboutnothing.com for links to all of our stuff, our platforms. So thank you very much, everybody. You all stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself. Thank you, everybody.